Hey everybody, for all4sci-fi.com, I'm your host Eric Walker, and standing next to me is the legendary Dominic Pace from The Mandalorian episode 1 and 3.
Thanks for having me. Thank you, and hello to all your listeners. How are you?
Thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
I'm sure our fans have a lot of questions for you.
Sure.
This weekend, you're out here at Order 66 Toys. We're having a great event here this weekend, all weekend long. We have Mr. Dominic Pace, we have Mike Quinn from The Rise of Skywalker, Felix Sela, the Hang Glider Ewok, and Mark Dodson, who plays Salacious Crumb, and also Teak, and who else? Stephen Constantino, who is the Gamorrean Guard, and myself, Mr. Mace Tawani from the Ewok Adventure. So, all 6 of us.
It's a good signing.
All 6 of us at one event. Yeah. So let's talk about The Mandalorian. How did you get that job? Did you audition? How did that process go?
Even though I've been a character actor, have numerous guest stars and co-stars, this was actually a simple makeup test. I've done previous prosthetic work on Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman. I was Frankenstein's photo double and came in for a couple of shots. And then also Bright with Will Smith, as well as a couple of bits with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So it was an amazing opportunity. Legacy Effects is absolutely incredible. Brian Sipe is second to none. He was the head of Guardians of the Galaxy. He did Drax at Guardians of the Galaxy. So he ended up just doing a simple makeup test with me for about 6 to 8 hours, knew that I had a tremendous amount of patience, and he gave me the most extensive prosthetic work for this bounty hunter for The Mandalorian. Yeah. And being a lifelong Star Wars fan, this was an absolute dream come true.
Yeah, it takes 6 to 8 hours. That is some patience.
Absolutely. And it actually, a lot of people sometimes can be claustrophobic.
Right.
So a lot of times they kind of want to feel you out because when you're working on set, sometimes it's 14, 15-hour days, being in that kind of makeup, and it's not a Halloween costume. It's something a little bit more smothering than that. But when I was working on Bright with Will Smith, I kind of felt more of like a cozy feeling as opposed to anything paranoid or anything claustrophobic there. So not only that, but being a lifelong Star Wars fan, one-of-a-kind bounty hunter was just an absolute dream come true.
And your bounty hunter has a name. The name is Gecko.
Gecko, yeah. 2 years prior, Brian Sipe did a Greenpeace event where he designed a female model in the shape of a gecko with the prosthetic on her head. So he gave me the same paint style as well as the prosthetic. They changed the humps to horns and still nicknamed it Gecko, and obviously to be part of the Bounty Hunter Guild was beyond words.
Yeah. How heavy was it?
Oh, it was light. It was a light kind of a foam silicone sort of thing there. So it wasn't too heavy. It was just feeling sort of the glue attached around, where obviously, thankfully, the set was pretty cool, so we weren't working outside. They put a sort of an alcohol sealant base on it. So if I was out in the sun, I've been like Dracula. I mean, it would have burned the heck out of me. But being on set, it was nice and cool. And, of course, we had 3 layers of clothing, and we had a little bit of action. So we sweat a little bit, but it was nothing compared to the Ewoks, I'm sure. And
they couldn't see in those. Their eyes would fog. Ewoks, by the way, when they put their heads on, their eyes fog up within like 10 seconds.
Wow, yeah.
So we had a lot of Ewoks falling over, and we had to watch out for them, especially if there's squids and blasts going off.
Sure, yeah.
Let's talk about who directed you. Were they 2 different directors or the same director?
Sure. Episode 1 was Dave Filoni, and that I was seen in the cantina for that. The demeanor from Filoni and Favreau and Deborah Chow was the utmost level of professionalism. You hear some of the old stories back in the 90s and early 2000s of Michael Bay and James Cameron yelling left and right, and screaming and firing people right in front of everybody on set. There was absolutely none of that, and it was a beautifully diverse set. It was the first time I ever saw a first AD and a second AD, assistant director, that were both female, so I thought that was a beautiful gesture and a new sign of the times in so many good ways.
That's great.
So, but just also, like I said, the level of professionalism with both Deborah Chow, who has now been given the helm of the Kenobi series, so you can imagine how impressed Disney has been with her talent. But also Dave Filoni there. Their demeanor is just second to none. Absolutely amazing. Between
Deborah Chow and Dave Filoni, I'm not going to put you on the spot. Asking who's better or worse, but do they have different directing styles? And this is coming from me. I'm an actor as well.
Sure.
What's your directing styles like?
Overall, I mean, being a side character, I didn't get to really get a chance to really delve into the details of their style. But it's just as far as I felt that there was just such camaraderie because Filoni and Favreau was also producing. They were also producing. But I saw the way that they were able to give Chow the helm when she was in charge, and also at the same time vice versa, to where, Favreau would scale back a little bit and Filoni would take charge, obviously, in the first episode there. But I just think overall, just a very calm, controlled demeanor. If you were going to be on a battleship, I mean, you would want those people in command. It was just such a great, an amazing culture throughout, whether it's the cast or crew, each and every day.
That's great. And now let's talk about fellow actors like myself. Sure. What was it like working with Carl Weathers, who played Grief Karga, or any of the other actors? Who'd you work with?
Carl Weathers, and then Brendan Wayne, who was John Wayne's grandson, who stood in for the Mandalorian there.
I heard that.
Yeah, so it was not Pedro Pascal. Pascal was the voice, but at least for episode 1 and 3, it was Brendan Wayne. Definitely give him a lot of credit. I mean, also for a lot of the action. Carl Weathers, I'm Italian-American, and one of the greatest franchises series, I think, for the entire world is the Rocky series.
Yes.
Growing up in New York, we had a tremendous diverse background. I mean, whether it was Italian, Puerto Rican, Irish, Jewish, African American, we all sort of came up the ranks in the country, starting as a minority in many ways, and sort of growing up the ranks. And Rocky, to me, was a lot about the fight, even including for Italian Americans. We were discriminated against the first half of the century and before that. So for me to be alongside such a legendary actor who made that series so magical was an honor in and of itself.
Yeah.
You also go on the 14th or 15th hour. I mean, literally seeing this man who's now 70 years old be able to hold his composure and still have that energy, still have that theatrical presence of being such an amazing talent. It was such an amazing inspiration to be alongside him, and definitely an honor.
Right. Now, this is Dominic's first ever signing ever in the whole United States. He's here at Order 66 Toys. So far this weekend, welcome, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to the Star Wars alumni, Dominic. Now you see what the fans are like. What do you got to say to the fans that you met?
Just thank you so much. I've been involved in 100 TV shows over the course of my career, and just the fact to be a featured side character, I mean, just the amount of support, not only from the fans, but also the 501st Legion. I was made an honorary member last week, and I can't tell you how grateful I am for that opportunity, because they do so much charity work. So not only as we start this tour, it's almost going to be a world tour over the next year or so. It's really important for us all to not only take advantage and enjoy the opportunity and to be amongst the Star Wars fans, but also at the same time to try and take the lead along with the 501st, along with the Mandalorian merch, in terms of the charitable organizations that they're involved in all their local communities, and to hopefully to give back as many times as I can.
That's great. Yes, in the 501st and the Mandalorian Mercs and all of them, great organizations. We love all the work you do for the charity. To end this interview, tell everybody what Dominic has in the future. What's coming up? So
Absolutely.
We could check out. He's going to tell you what shows he has coming out. So go ahead and
Sure. Just recently guest starred on 911 for Fox, and I'll be guest starring on a new Fox show called Deputy, starring Stephen Dorff. And then we are starring in a feature film called Anonymous Killers, and that will be released early next year. And hopefully we'll be seeing more of Gecko within either the Mandalorian or hopefully the Kenobi series.
You heard it first. Hopefully we'll see it. If fans out there want to go ahead and write to Disney Plus or Mr. Jon Favreau or Dave Filoni or Deborah Chow, let them know you want to see Gecko. He is a bad bounty hunter. Love the character.
Yeah.
You know what? This guy is the most humble guy I've ever met in my life. And you know what? He's been in over 100 things before he got this Star Wars break. I can't think of any person that deserves it more after meeting you this weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro.
I appreciate it. Thank you.